So who is the people who are hiring now in the leadership position? Men. So you being a man, tell me why men hire more men and not women? You might need to reach out to 100 people, 500 people to get someone to respond, but you need only one person to change your life. We had one guy who wanted an outrageous amount, and the task he delivered was literally done with ChatGPT.
You're the CEO of a successful marketing company, right? You also create a lot of sarcastic and funny videos on TikTok and Instagram, right? You won some awards on behalf of the company, also awards on behalf of yourself. Can you walk us through the heart of the process that you do at your agency, OK Consulting?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm super excited to be and share all my successes and also all my miserable days of hiring, because this is definitely one of the hardest challenges you can have as a CEO. Currently, we employ 15 people with LKI Consulting, and hiring each one of them was a huge hassle. The biggest problem what I see working in Web3 space, and I've been doing that since 2016, is that people who are here already within the space, they're spoiled. They don't want to come and work and hustle. And when you're running a marketing agency, you need to serve other people. You need to serve other clients. It's not an easy job. It's not like you come for a product position where you come, you work for 5-6 hours, you get your stuff done and you leave. When you run a marketing agency and you're an account manager, a project manager working directly with clients, client can text you 7 in the morning, 8 in the evening, and you have to respond. Or if the client has some kind of urgency, again, you need to be there and solve this problem Friday evening, Saturday daytime. So first of all, hiring people in Web3 space is very hard because they're spoiled. They don't want to hassle. And hiring people from Web2 space is a hassle because they have nothing about Web3. And you need to teach them from day one on what is Bitcoin, what you eat, what are you eating it with, how do you sell it, how do you buy it, what is all these different chains, and just spending time to educate the person on this new emerging industry, wasn't there like 10, 15 years ago, is also quite a challenge. So we as an agency are always in this pickle. Do we take someone from Web 2, but then spend a lot of time training them and we're still not sure if they're going to be good and interested to work in this high-paced environment, or we overpay by a lot and take someone from Web 3 and we're not necessarily going to make as much profit as an agency.
Gotcha. So what are the skills required, let's say, to work in a marketing agency in Web3? So what do those Web2 people have to learn and to work with you?
So the first thing, what is the biggest prerequisite? You have to genuinely love Web3 and you have to believe in all the fundamental ideas of not just Bitcoin, not just blockchain, but overall of the industry. If you don't believe in it and you're here just for the money, you're going to struggle. That's number one. Number two, it's a very fast-paced environment. And us as marketeers, every day, we're paving the way. We're every day learning new things. There's no playbook how to market crypto projects. If you're working in retail with fast-moving consumer goods, they've been there for 100 years. You know how it's done, you can learn it. Whereas with crypto, there are no books about it. Like there are no proper tools and resources which you can learn. And as everything changes so dramatically, so fast, you have to adapt. So another skill what everyone from Web 2 who want to go to Web 3 needs to learn is basically learn fast and be very agile and be excited of always working in uncertainty. And that goes to point number 3, working in uncertainty. There is no playbook and there are no rules what needs to be done. And especially when you work with clients who know what the end goal is, but they don't know how you get there. You as their marketing manager, project manager, need to take them by the hand and help them find the way to that goal. So it's not like, hey, we need to grow our community. This means we want to buy 10 social media posts, 2 podcasts per month, 1 influencer, blah, blah. No, it's like, hey, we want to grow our community. And then you as a marketing manager, like, okay, so what does a community mean to you? Do you want 10,000 people, 1,000 people, 100,000 people? Okay, we know how much you want. Who are those people? What are the demographics? What are psychographics? Where do we target them? Are they existing Web3 users? Are we want to target someone who is not educated about Web3 and we want to convert them? So there are so many things you need to get from the client. And that's why working in uncertainty is the third key skill we need to have.
How did you learn all those Web3 things, right? Because if you own an agency, you have to have a profound knowledge of what you're now talking about, right? So did you start with Web2 and gradually learn it your way? Or you really said, okay, I have enough knowledge, I'm going to launch a Web3 agency and be the player in the space?
So it was a mix of both. So in the beginning, I was studying physics. So I was always interested in technology, in science. And actually, when I was still in college, a few classmates of mine told me about Bitcoin. It was such an early days. I remember, I think it was second or third year of university. I was doing was a presentation for some kind of class because I was majoring in physics, minoring in economics. Was some kind of, I think, finance class, or I was doing a presentation about Bitcoin in the second or third year of uni. And then I started doing tech marketing. I was working with startups, mostly in fintech space. And then accidentally, when I was just graduated after university in 2016, I got invited to do a first ICO. At that time, we had 3 W's: website, white paper, and wallet. And I remember the guy approached me. He's like, Laura, help us to fundraise. We know nothing, but like, if we make money, we'll share with you. I'm like, well, I'm out of college. I have no idea what I want to do with my life. I kind of do marketing. This sounds interesting. Let's do it. And we were successful. And when you do one, other starts approaching you. There was so much trial and error. There were so many fuck ups that I made in the beginning of my career working as a freelancer. Like, I would promise something, I wouldn't deliver. I would overestimate my capabilities. Like, first few years in this space, when I was just a junior and just starting out making these first few steps, I was bad. Like, I literally were bad. Like, I'm so sorry for all the clients who worked with me at that time. But then within 1, 2, 3 years, you learn, you talk to other people in this space, you get mentors. Mentors work tremendously for me. They helped me so much. And then as you grow as a professional, you get more and more exposure. You have your track record, you have your case studies, and then more and more clients start approaching you. And that was a very natural progression from being a freelancer, then hiring a few more people to help me out, to later founding LK Consulting Marketing Agency.
When you talk about mentors, right, those mentors were for Web3, or basically those mentors who helped you to start a business?
I had numerous mentors in my life, and they were in different fields. One of my best mentors who had early days in my career was a person who was running a management consultancy company. He would go into companies who are usually not producing profit. He would work mostly with like big factories, manufacturing businesses, and then he would turn those businesses around, do huge restructuring, and take at least 30% from the profit he generates. And he was doing that years and years and years. So he was the first mentor I had on basically how to start a business, how to create a business where you can actually sell it someday, where it's not one-man show, and how to have a mindset of the business person. That was the first mentor I had. The second mentor I had was in the Web3 space. Was an amazing person who just basically answered my questions, guided me, showing me where I can find things, where I can find information, the best events to go to, and so on. And then I had a few mentors from marketing space. One of my best mentors had the largest agency in Ukraine, with more than 100 people working for her and her partner. And she is very, very good friend of mine. And as well, she was my mentor from the marketing perspective. But it's mostly more about business and how to run business. Because if you want to be a business person, you have to have a certain mindset. And those mentors help me tremendously. So anyone who's looking for a job in crypto, find a mentor. Find someone who you admire, who is the person in their career where you want to be, and reach out to them. Offer them to work for free. Or ask them to have 1 hour per week, per month, just spending time with you. Come prepared, come with questions, and trust me, that will change the trajectory of your career.
That's, I think it's a very interesting method to really learn about the industry, right? But how do you actually reach those mentors, right? Let's say we know companies like Coinbase, which Binance, very successful and big companies, right? How do you reach employees or people from that industry if you really don't have that network yet?
I'll tell you what story. It's going to be out from Web2 space, but it can be applied with Web3 space. So when I started my career, still I was in university, I realized that if you want to build your career, your brand, you have to be a writer. At that time, everyone was building thought leadership, writing articles, and I started to write a small media outlet called the Arca Startup. I was covering Scandinavia, Baltic tech news. And I had another mentor, my CEO, the managing director, who offered to go to the Summit conference, which was still in Dublin at the time, and I could get like a free media pass. I was in the college student. I didn't have like so much money. I was staying in this Airbnb with 6 more people. Like, it was those kind of days. And before, he's like, hey, Laura, there's going to be a lot of journalists there. Write to them. Say that you're a starting journalist. You want to get there twice. Don't pitch anything. Don't sell anything. Because I was also working with one company at the time as a PR manager. And then later just wrote me email. Hey, my name is Laura. I write for this Arctic startup. I'm a starting journalist. I see you're going to be here during this conference. I would like to meet and get your advice. And that's it. And when you go to conferences, you usually have a list of all the journalists who are coming. You can Google it as well. It's open information. And you just update everyone. It was like 60 emails, which I sent one by one. At the time, I didn't even know that the thing like mass mail sent existed. So literally copy pasting, spending whole evening. I have answers from Financial Times, from QZ, from Forbes, from all of the top journalists. Like, yeah, sure, I'm going to be there. Just come by, let's meet. And out of this, I met Forbes managing editor, Bruce Uppin. And basically, when I went to a meeting with him, again, I was a starting journalist, second or third year of college, like no proper life experience, like whatsoever. They didn't have anyone who was writing about Forbes in Baltics and Scandinavia. And like, yeah, it's an interesting region. You have Skype, we have some other companies out of it. Like, yeah, we don't kind of have news about it. I'm like, can I write? Like, can I share it? I'll work for free. Just, can I do it? And he was like, yeah, if you write good, we can. And this is how I became one of the youngest contributors to Forbes. By simply reaching out and asking.
That's also interesting. So essentially what you're saying is that it costs you nothing to get started. You really just have to find the way, right? One of the ways is find a mailing list, find the person's name, just write it.
You have to hustle.
And you have to have a motivation. You have to be really motivated and you have to have a passion for it.
Yes, yeah. Just starting out doesn't need money. If you have access to the internet, you're good. Reach out to people. You might need to reach out to 100 people, 500 people to at least get someone to respond, but you need only one person to change your life.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, fast forward to today. You mentioned that you have about 15 employees in your company. Okay. What's the method that you use to actually hire those employees?
So the biggest hire I had, the most amazing hire I had, is my agency COO, Marina. I met her in one of the companies I worked with. And once we finalized the agreement with the company, we stopped work with them. I honestly just approached her and said, hey, like, I enjoyed working with her. She was like my client. From the corporate side, I was like, can you come work for me? It took me 9 months to convince her to come working. 9 months. But this is one of the key hires I had in my agency because she's basically second me. And when I go to events, I travel, we need to have someone who's holding the fort back home, who's taking care of everyone. So that was the key hire. If you're running a business and you want to scale, you need to hire a number 2. Someone who you would see taking over the business. And like when it comes to her, she knows that like in a couple of years, I want her to take over the agency. I want to do other things. I want to scale other businesses. I want her to take over. So I'm growing her to become basically me. That was the key number 1 hire. Number 2 is when I hire other people, if I'm not their direct manager, I want their direct managers to hire. So now, for example, if Marita needs someone in their team, she would hire a person. I wouldn't even go to the interview. I would only wait till the last, basically, stage of the interview to kind of come and see if she's a culture fit. But if my team member likes the person, no matter my feelings, unless it's like no go from the culture perspective, I approve it.
When you're hiring right now, are you doing like kind of personal interviews, or you let it you maybe have an HR department or HR people that are doing this on behalf of you?
So I tried recruiters. I've never found a right recruiter. The things I would get from them are the things I could get myself from LinkedIn. So if there are good recruiters, please reach out to me because so far I haven't found good ones. The first thing what we do is a very quick 15 to 20 minutes call just to screen a person. Usually it's done by someone mid level of the agency, so someone who would be working in a similar position, basically to screen a person that also would be a culture fit, and we give a test. So 20 minutes talk, you get a task. If the person delivers the task well, only then we have a long conversation. There's so many people who apply, and unfortunately they're not the quality we want. That's why we don't want to waste our time. We talk a little bit. If you're at least like culture fit, you do the task. If you don't do the task well, we don't waste our time.
Tell a little bit about the test, right? What is it? Is it a written test? Is it an oral test?
So
and if every position has the same test or?
So usually we do the open tasks, which is create a marketing strategy or create a marketing plan. and we say pick any company from the space. We might sometimes pick some company we work with or we like talk to, doesn't matter, pick anyone. And imagine you come to the agency to work tomorrow, and this is your client. They come to you knowing nothing, and you need to sell them the marketing strategy or the marketing plan. What would you do? It's a very open task. There were not a lot of prerequisites because we want people to operate in the uncertainty, and we see how they do it. In what way they deliver? Do they deliver a presentation, a spreadsheet? Is it just email format? We don't give them any other guidelines. We just want to see how they work. And let me tell you the funniest stories. The more money people want, the shittier the task is. We had one guy who wanted an outrageous amount, and the task he delivered was literally done with ChatGPT. And we're like, seriously? Like, is this, you think we can bring it to client?
Well, why do you think it is like that? It's because they think that they can get a similar offer on somewhere else, and they don't put enough effort into that application.
Within the last couple of years, we had a huge bull run, and money wasn't the problem. Companies were scaling so fast that the only thing they cared about is filling the quotas. Because as you know, from all the large tech companies, hiring more people looked into the investors' eyes that the company is growing fast and they're doing the right job. So some of the people were even hiring without proper positions. So if you have half the brain, you could have a very comfortable job. But nowadays, where we're more in a bear market, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fly. You need to properly put in the work. So all those people who apply, who don't come prepared for an outrageous amount, who don't do even the task well, they're usually those who got hired in large corporates, if we're talking about Web2, or large Web3 companies who laid off a lot of people, and they're still used to being in that environment where you're just going to get hired because someone needs to fill that position, rather than actually looking at the person. Are they good? Are they delivering for the task?
What do you think about the remote and physical work? Is there any difference for you?
We don't have a physical office. When we started working during COVID and kind of died out, I asked all my team members, hey, do we want to get an office? Our team is scattered across different European countries, but have quite a few people in Lithuania. And they were like, if we get an office, it means we have to go there. And I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point of office. No one wanted it. So I have absolutely no preferences. Wherever you want to work with, as long as you get work done, we work on. The only thing we care about is the time zone. We want people to be in like no more than 3 hours difference, because otherwise just communication would be a bit hot.
So basically, you build a company from ground up, right? And we have 15 people. So how do you realize that you need to hire additional person?
When my team members start working overtime and they saying, hey, we need to hire people. Like currently, I'm very fortunate with my marketing agency. Because of the bigger problem we have is finding the right people, not the client. We have very good clients we've worked with in the past. Like we worked with Binance when they came to Lithuania, worked with like Railsband, worked with Melford, all the big companies. And if you do your job well, clients come, we talk, you get introduced. It's not a problem. Finding the right people is a problem. So to answer your question a bit more precise, when we see it, we have more clients than people can physically handle, then we hire more people. But it's always a chicken and egg situation. You never know when it's going to happen. There could be a month when it's super chill and we have little work, and the next month, 3 more big projects come in and like, oh my God, we need to hire more people. So another thing what we do is we always have a few freelancers on standby who work on monthly retainers. And they know that if we need something, we can go to them directly, hire them, yes, a bit more premium, but they deliver straight away. They're tested, they work very well. So we have currently up to 5 freelancers for different specialties who can come in and work basically from the next day.
You have a very great screening process. Did you have any kind of bad experiences for hiring?
Yes.
For example, somebody who scammed?
Many. So I'll tell like this. Now I have an amazing CEO. Marina is a godsend person. Like I love her so much. She knows all of these things. I'm telling her, not just on a podcast, I'm telling her that's your face. But it took me 4 tries till I find that person. And each one of those 4 people who applied to basically become my right hand, and that happened for a couple of years. It took me a couple of years to find the right person for me. They all look good on a resume. They all look good on interviews. Some of them I even knew personally from like social setting, and they would come and they would fail miserably. So I had one person who had amazing experience running a marketing agency, properly running an agency. And it so happened that for certain personal reasons, the agency split off. And I was like, I can get a person with proper agency experience running, because her agency at one point were like 30 people, was a proper big agency. Like, it's amazing. I can get that kind of person for myself to be my pod, to help me build, because I didn't have any agency experience beforehand. So maybe I was feeling a little bit anxious, like, hey, I need someone with the proper experience. And when the person came, I realized very quickly within 1 month that all of the job the person did the previous agency was more coming in meetings and just shaking hands rather than doing actual work. And me having huge expectations for the person based on how the person presented himself, how the resume looked, how everything looked. After 1 month, I realized everything is just a nice marketing thing. And when you actually need to sit down and get work done, the person doesn't understand marketing, doesn't understand how to scale. It was all just a very nice marketing point. And then other people in the back end were working instead.
So why do you think people do that? It's just they are lazy. They just find a quickest way to earn the buck, and then they just do something else.
I always have the saying, why work if you cannot work? People don't want to work. People are lazy. Like, why would we put in the effort to hustle every day, get stuff done? If we can, just stop for a way out and get paid. Like, we're currently living in this economy where money is not the problem. Every day we're creating so much money. So if you have the brain and you get lucky, you can get such a good position with very little actual hands-on work, more talking work as I call it, and you can do very well.
But you're very passionate yourself, right? So you still, even if you have, or you would have like extraordinary amount of money, I feel that you would still work and you would still do stuff that you do, right?
Yes, I would. I had this time of my life where I was very fortunate that I just didn't work and I spent time, let's say, exploring myself, having fun. It was one of the most miserable times of my life. When I had enough money to have a very comfortable lifestyle and do nothing. I went to like an art school. I went to some courses. Like, I did some business. Like, I wasn't working properly. It was one of the worst times in my life. I see myself through my career, through my business. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and the clients I meet, the people I meet, like you, like other people, they're incredible. And I have this opportunity to meet these people, be in this industry, still up and coming in emerging industry. That's gonna shape the way how our kids gonna live their lives. I could say no to that.
That's beautiful. How do you actually avoid having employees that bad employees, I would say, right? The ones who actually come to work and they're really focusing, that 4:30, I'm already about to leave. It's really focusing on the timing instead of focusing on, really unleashing their motivation and working for that company.
You fire those people within the first week. We had these kind of people. Like, that's good in agency. Like, we track our time. So every person who works at the agency, if they work full time, like 8 hours, they can track 6 hours per day. We have ClickUp where we use for time tracking. So every day, especially if it's a junior person or a new person, their manager would check, what did you do during the day? How? Well, especially in the beginning. Later, we don't even check, we don't micromanage, but we want to see, because it's a remote position, what people are working, especially juniors who just come in. And then you see what they did, how long did it take for them to do that, when did they log off, how much they tracked, and usually we just fire them within the first week.
So it's a very quick turnaround time that you have.
Yes. Like, I would say this, if the person survives within the first 3 months, within probation, they stay for a long time. If not, we cut a lot of people. Just like last week, we have number one position that we need to fill in. Last week, we cut 2 people who would try. Who came for like trial. The people didn't fit our culture fit and our work ethic. That's it. They were good.
Look, a lot of people now talk about work-life balance. What do you think about it?
If you want a work-life balance, you work at a corporate. You don't come to crypto. And you don't come at the agency. Like, you need to be crazy enough to see yourself as a professional and see your value through your abilities as a career. And it's not for everyone, but only then you're gonna be happy in crypto. Because if you want a 9 to 5, there's so many jobs in corporate and many industries where you can have that. But crypto is not the case.
So that's a very fair point, right? In crypto, you have to work more than you would work in any other industry, right? And you may get also paid more. You may have more opportunities. Now you're kind of also very popular on social media, right? You have, how many followers do you have with your social media accounts as of now?
In combination, I have 100K on Instagram, 100K on TikTok, but I'm not doing that. I have 25K in LinkedIn, so 215 total across all of them.
How does it help you professionally, if at all?
Honestly, it helps only from the perspective, hey, if I build my audience, I know how to build the audience for others. it goes from employer branding. I got a few very good candidates who I actually hired through my social media, and then I talk a lot all around the world in conferences. I do keynotes, panels, and this social media following definitely helps.
How do you scale a marketing company?
It's one of the biggest challenges. That's a $1 million question. One very successful. Even Gary Vee, who was here on ABC the day, what he said: if you want to be in a service-based business, you have to be in the hiring business, because it's all about finding the right talent. So scaling a marketing agency is getting the best people from all around the world and making sure they're happy. That's how you scale it, only through hiring the best of the best. Product-based business, you can automate a lot of things, you can outsource. Back-end things are one thing. Service-based business, when it's all about front-facing people who deal with clients, help them, it's just HR business.
So cool. I know a lot of people who would like to work in Web3, but they're kind of scared of the bull runs and bear runs, right? Because what we see in bear runs, companies hire rats, and bull runs, companies are hiring more, right? And they're kind of being afraid of being laid off and then stay without any job.
I'll tell you like this. Bear market and bull market is a hoax only for scam projects. If you're doing a legit business which has revenue, has profit, has the proper growth, no matter the market, bear or bull, you're going to be successful. The bull market is just a time where projects with less, let's call it let's say worse projects perform better just because the whole trend is going up. So if you're working for the company who actually has underlying value for the community, for the industry, you're not going to have problems. Good people are not being laid off. Money are being raised even during this bear market. Just the other day, a friend of mine just raised $2 million, just like that within a month, with a good project, and like all the top tier investors invest in them. So if you do the right project for the right reasons and you're strong as a founder, there's gonna be no problems. You shouldn't be afraid. Like right now, during this bear market, as we as an agency progress and evolve, I'm getting more clients than during the bull run.
That's very interesting, right? So how we see this Web3 industry, right? Because we didn't even touch the decrease in universities, right?
Yeah.
There are people who doesn't have access to this kind of education, right? Or higher education of the very best universities, they still can have an amazing job, right? And it's really up to what you can do and how much you can do it. For example, for roles that you're hiring, right? Do you require a degree? Do you even ask for this?
Honestly, for the first 6 months, when I hired my agency CEO, one of the best hires, I didn't even know what she was studying. And I actually don't even know where. I have another associate, which I hired 9 months ago. She's studying something. Like, I literally don't care about the degree. I don't care what they studied. I need the person, their attitude, and that's the most important thing.
And that's awesome. That's for people, who don't have a degree, but have such a huge motivation, to learn it and do something. Can you tell a little bit about your company right now? I'm hiring at this very moment.
Yes, we are hiring. So we're actually always hiring. If there is a good talent, we always will take it. The most important thing when we're hiring now is one, project manager, account manager. So a person who's been working directly with clients, who have project management experience, have account experience, and understands marketing. That's an immediate hire I need like yesterday. Number two, we always hire marketing associates, juniors, so people want to come into the peer space who might not have good experience, but they're super motivated. So we always hiring those. And number three, we always also need marketing managers. So people who might not be working with clients directly, more in the back end, who again know marketing and can learn. So these are the three positions which we're always hiring. Like if I would even not need a person, but I'll find a super practical person, I would just hire them.
No, so what I would suggest you can post a job out on the cryptojobs.com, and I believe that you can find a lot of people through this portal. You can share your experience. Maybe you'll find your next hire.
Yes, definitely. That's my plan.
Now, to really go kind of to the last part of the conversation, I would like to talk a little bit about the kind of male and female attitude, right? I mean, you talk a lot about female CEOs, right? And you're motivating girls and women to really become CEOs and go into the leading position. Now, this kind of question is an old question. What we can see, there are much more men in the leading positions in the big companies, right? So why do you think that we have this phenomenon? Why there are more male in the leading positions like CEOs?
So who is the people who are hiring now in the leadership position? Men. So you being a man, tell me why men hire more men and not women?
You believe that men, they prefer to hire men, right? Is that the reality?
Yes, men prefer to hire men is still a boys' club. Because if you would see in women-led in a management where there is more women, in their teams it's 50-50. Women hire women. Women sometimes hire more women than men. So I think it's a natural progression where we need to have more women in leadership positions, and then the balance is a little bit more equal. And there is even a study made that companies with women management perform better in the stock market than the men one.
Okay, that's a very interesting study. So in your company, you have, what's it called?
I think it's more women because marketing is all mostly dominated with women. I would say it's 70-30%. 70% of women, 30% men.
And when you now perform the hires, do you care about the gender that much?
Absolutely no. Like at this point, I'll hire whoever is good. That my priority is to hire whoever is good, not regardless of gender.
Awesome, that's great. Now, do you have any hobbies besides work where you really work every?
I have a lot of hobbies actually. So when I go to all these coffees, I travel a lot. I love traveling. I do horse riding. That's the thing. And when I travel somewhere, I always try to do horse riding. I love escape rooms. So even after this podcast, I literally have to be in one of the escape rooms to do that. I would do yoga, I go to gym, I socialize with people. So in order to perform in a high-paced environment, and you have to take care of your mental health, and you have to prioritize your rest. So I always, even though I have to go to events in the morning to conference, still have a day where I do nothing. I just, if it's Dubai, chill near the pool, I just spend time for myself.
Just don't be lazy, right? That would be like what you would say for people. Right? Don't be lazy and then work on your stuff. And you will also have some free time.
Yes, there's so many opportunities in the market. And if you're not successful, that's your responsibility.
Gotcha. Awesome. So thank you very much for the interview. That was very insightful, right? People will be able to find jobs from your agency on cryptojobs.com. And guys, if you would like to see another guest in the studio, feel free to drop a comment with the first name and last name of that person, or just a simple link to the social profiles, and I'm sure that we will be able to invite that guest. So thank you very much, Laura, for participating.
Thank you.